Leo. So I'm just going to go through it here with the Ten of Swords here. 10 is a card of endings, and because swords represent thoughts, this is a belief system that needs to end, an old way of thinking. If you continue in the same way of thinking, it actually, like, you know, stops the person. It's actually stops them in their tracks. It's stagnant energy. It's an old way of being. So this could be like your old life that you're leaving behind, or really acknowledging this end of this cycle. And there may be something that you're having a hard time finding a decision about. This is Two of Swords, which is indecision. Maybe feeling a little bit stagnant, or feeling like, do I go this way or do I go that way? Do I go left or do I go right? Sometimes Two of Swords can represent peace. So it may just be that you're turning things over in your mind and you don't really want to make a decision right now, or that there's a decision in front of you that you're not ready to make right now. So you may just be checking out a little bit. It might just be like sort of a gray zone or a timeout where no action is needed. Two of Swords often means having a dilemma as far as making a decision, and therefore, because you're not able to make a decision, you just stay in one place. If you want to get out of this energy, the way out is to take action, but it could just be that you're acknowledging that the old part of you, the old life, the old cycle has come to an end. You can no longer continue that way, but you may still have some time before you're actually deciding upon one course of action over another, or one idea over another, one choice over another. So interesting how one thing has ended, but it kind of puts you in this zone of maybe being a little checked out, maybe just feeling peaceful, or just having some indecision about where to go next. I do see that you're not fully in your, you know, in your full creativity yet. World is a wonderful card, and it's one of the most positive cards. It's like a card of being in the zone, in the flow of things. It's when, you know, the four different elements turn up: the mental element, the emotional element, the fire element, you know, vitality and passion, and then the physical element. It's when they all line up, and this woman is in the center, just feeling free, feeling victorious, feeling, you know, supported by the universe. This card is showing up for you, Leo. So you do have all the elements. You do have this emerging. It's just in the shadows right now. It's just like underneath the surface. So it may be that your true, full, passionate, lively, free self is like just under the surface, like you're just about getting there. It looks to me like things could happen very quickly, even towards the beginning of April. It may be that this has just been waiting in the shadows, waiting for this to end, for this cycle, and then this happens, you know, with this Eight of Wands energy. This means things happening very quickly. Things are lining up. Things are approaching completion, and you're receiving the final piece of information, the final puzzle piece. All the rods are lining up. So what I'm getting from these together is that, you know, this cycle is ending. There may be some indecision, or some feeling checked out, or feeling some stasis, or having trouble with a dilemma, deciding one thing or another, you know, having a decision appearing before you. And then this card, you know, is there for you. The world is there holding you and supporting you. It's just that you, are waiting for it to come to the surface. You're kind of waiting for that last shoe to fall before this card corrects. So it's just sort of like a waiting game in some ways, but an acknowledgement of this old cycle ending, of this things that's approaching completion to happen, and then you feel free, and maybe you'll be able to make whatever decision has been lingering for you, that's been a little stagnant, or just being held in check. Then towards the middle of the month, you know, it's funny with these two cards together. This card, Seven of Swords, can be very me energy. Sometimes it can be deceptiveness. It's the guy it's Seven of Swords, so it's a guy who is always looking out for himself. He's willing to cut corners. He's like, I've got to cover my bases with whatever means necessary. Sometimes it can have criminal overtones to it, but really it's just like, I'm looking out for myself. I'm looking out for number one. that kind of thinking or that kind of energy, if someone is around you that's like that, or if you're noticing that in yourself, it's really destructive to relationships. It prevents, it's funny because if you look at these are all 2 cards. This is 2 of Swords, 2 of Cups, and this is Lovers. So there's a theme running through April of this, indecision, or the sense that I get with these 2 cards next to one another is that any sort of that there may need to be a balance between considering yourself and considering others. There may be someone in your environment, whether it's you or someone else, who is exhibiting this me behavior, the self-focus that is turning the relationships upside down. This is a love affair card. It's 2 of Cups, which is an exchange of hearts. The cups represent heart energy and emotion. And this is one of the best cards for relationship or marriage or a love affair or any sort of like relationship and coupling. That in the reverse position is kind of going head to head. It looks like it corrects later, but surrounded by this kind of energy, you can see that these are absolutely at odds. This one is going this way, this one's flipped in reverse. So this is really like there's some friction going on here in terms of considering duality or considering the self. That's what I'll say about that, is that if any over self-thinking may be related to this too. Look, these are all Swords cards here, end of an era. This is how I think about myself. Maybe I need to take some time out and reflect upon things. You're thinking things over in April anyway. You're thinking about, this is all surrounded by Swords energy too in regards to relationships, like what has worked for me in relationships, what has not worked for me in relationships. This is healing and recovery, going from stormy seas to smoother seas. Some of you, Leos, may be involved in relationships that are topsy-turvy right now, and you need some time out to go heal. Like, there may be some of you that actually go on a retreat with your partner, or this can sometimes represent healing yourself, taking yourself from a situation of challenge to new horizons where it feels smoother and calmer. And this card, Page of Swords, usually means, having convictions about things. Swords represent truth or ideas. You're generally thoughts, but if it's one sword, it usually represents the truth. So this is usually a young, idealistic, I think of this as like the zealous college student who has discovered their own truth and is willing to proclaim it from the mountaintops and defend it, don't get behind a cause. But in this position, it's saying to me is, are you defending your own cause? Are you helping yourself to heal? Have you identified what your truth is? Have you identified, because it's in the reverse position, it could be in shadow or in doubt, where you may be saying, is this true? Am I willing to say that this is something that I feel passionately about or that I really believe, since swords are more of like thoughts? You might be just questioning some of your beliefs, which could be good because your old beliefs are, your old way of living, your old belief system is ending. So it might just be a time for deliberating, thinking things over, and that's actually what Four of Swords is all about. It's about taking some time out, just similar to this card. Some R&R. This card is really about resting, being at peace. I call this card sometimes live to fight another day, or rest and relaxation. When you take a time out, you can be active again later. This soldier is normally in battle and active, but he's put his swords up here, and sometimes putting things up on the wall, you can kind of sit back and reflect and get new ideas from when you're not constantly in your head about stuff or overthinking things. It's just when you take time to muse and relax and reflect, sometimes new ideas can come to you. That's how I kind of see this fourth sword, is that these three swords are present, these three ideas, but when he takes time to actually rest and reflect, this new sword emerges from the mist that wasn't seen before. And that could be, what corrects this lover's energy. This is Two of Cups in reverse here, but you may have a new way of thinking about how you participate in relationship. whether you're currently in one or you're looking to get into one, or just in the way that you show up and appear in relationships. This is Lover's energy, and this is very intimate card. It's, card of two people sharing with one another, being vulnerable, being passionate and intimate. And these lilies represent, innocence and newness, sharing new life together. So I'm going to recommend that you spend time doing a lot of thinking during April. It could be a really great month for you for some reflection, for some healing, for letting go of old things of the past, and, making some decisions. You may get some information that helps you unlock that last puzzle piece that enables you to feel really free and finally in the zone and supported by life. And then I see towards the end of the month, Leo, that you are going to be defending your space. This card, ultimately you end up satisfied. That's 9 of Cups. But 7 of Wands can, sometimes I see this card as struggle, but I always call this card success despite adversity. So it means there might be some rough patches in the road or bumps, but ultimately you come out on top. This card is, he's fighting from an advantageous position, and I sometimes say he's either fighting these other 6 people off or he's leading them. So it's you're in an advantageous position, Leo, towards the end of the month, and you will have a lot of satisfaction with that. That's 9 of Cups. So you feel, you feel full, satiated, things are going your way. It's just, you feel satisfied. So even though there may be some things to think through, especially in relation to self versus others, or the way that relationships show up, or decisions to be made. But I do see some healing and some identifying of what is your truth, reflection, letting old beliefs go. And even if there are some rough patches, you're ultimately ending up satisfied and available for a new level of intimacy. This can even be amongst yourself. Sometimes lovers is just integration of the conscious mind and the subconscious. I'm seeing it more as 2 people because I've got this 2 hearts, 2 of Cups energy, but it really is reflection on balance of how you are on your own versus how you are with someone else. And I do see some satisfaction after maybe some being willing to defend your territory, be assertive, stand up for what you believe in, and you end up being pretty happy and full. So that's my reading for you for April, Leo. I hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy thinking about things during April. It's going to be a good time for you to reflect upon things. And just have a lot of different ideas going through your head. So I hope you enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching.